never met anyone like you, Jim.
I love that.
No,
Whether
not
that's a
even
compliment.
close to
Okay. Moving on to the AFC Championship game. Jags at Patriots. I'm no betting girl. I mean, I'll win $20 at the slots and literally leave Las Vegas immediately and be
How
happy.
much we betting on the game this
Wait,
week,
listen,
Jenna?
Sue's the same way as I am, so don't think this is the first you're hearing this. I got a good $8 to $10 on this game.
Okay.
But New England is favored by more than a touchdown in this matchup, so maybe I do jump in higher than $8. And Tom Brady is playing in a conference title game for the 7th straight season, also the 12th time overall. It's mind-boggling, actually. Regardless, Rob Gronkowski isn't looking past this tough Jacksonville defense.
So they got many, many great players, and it's going to be a big challenge. It's the best team we're facing all year. They're coming up in the AFC Championship game this weekend, so we got to be ready, we got to be prepared, and it's going to be a big, tough challenge for sure.
Is Rob Gronkowski right, Nick? Is this Jaguars defense the toughest challenge they'll have faced all season?
The Jags defense, yes. If we drill it down to just what Gronk plays, the Jags, the Pats offense versus the Jags.
But he didn't say defense, though. He said this is the best team.
Yeah, that part I don't agree with. I think the Steelers are a better team. I think that than
Do you think
they go ahead. I know the Steelers lost to the Jags twice. I think the Steelers are a tougher team for the Pats. Also, the Pats this year played the NFC South, which is the toughest division in football.
I think
this
he was
year.
probably referring to the defense.
But Cece, where were you?
I think
it is the best defense because it's the best defense
I think
in
that
football.
Bill Belichick, the message that he sent was, because typically the players repeat what the coach says. And these are talking points that they give the players to be able to stay on. Rob Gronkowski did not come up with, Jacksonville's the best team we ever faced.
Okay.
Somebody told him that, and that's Bill Belichick. So there's a great deal of healthy respect for Jacksonville after they've watched 4 or 5 days of film, which I believe is something people should know.
Which is something, by the way, it seemed Pittsburgh was lacking. Even though Pittsburgh had got their teeth kicked in by Jacksonville earlier in the year. Right? That it was something clear.
From the beginning. This game will start off where the Patriots will be more afraid to lose and more respect for Jacksonville than Pittsburgh, who got clobbered by them earlier in the season, and now they got 2 losses to go with that.
And so on Gronkowski in particular, he is the guy that I am most intrigued to watch in this game from a Patriots offensive perspective because, Cece, you mentioned something earlier, almost in passing, that I think is really interesting, which is if the Jags do slide Calais Campbell inside, and they collapse the pocket from the inside with Calais Campbell and Malik Jackson. Malik Jackson, who had a ton of success against the Patriots in the playoffs a few years ago with Denver. That will force New England to use a running back in pass protection up the middle. Where did New England absolutely obliterate the Tennessee Titans, and where did they have their most success in the passing game throughout the season? Those annoying, frustrating little checkdowns, little dump-off passes, little split screens to running backs. Like, that has been such a huge part of their game, whether it's James White or Dion Lewis or Rex Burkhead when he was healthy, throwing to the running backs. If Chris is right that Jacksonville's going to try to eliminate that through a pass rush, force the running back inside, well, then we know the Patriots wide receivers haven't been great all year. We know that Brandon Cooks has been okay, but maybe not the dynamic game changer people thought he would be, and that Edelman's out. Amendola's just a guy. Like, Gronkowski is the X factor, to use a cliche, in this football game if the Jaguars attack them the way CC mentioned they might.
I just believe that in New England, this game sets up for the running backs to have big days. So you say, who should Jacksonville be worried about? Who will New England concentrate? I believe that Gronk in a big game is always going to get 5 to 8 major targets in the game. So you always have to stop Gronk. But it's a matter of who is that other player or two, and that being Dion Lewis or James White. Both of them being healthy, I look for them to try to force feed them the football. And I believe that New England, they know that they can't potentially run on Jacksonville, but they might run on them just to slow down the rush. But also, Brandon Cooks was brought to New England for a game like today. And can he get open deep against man-to-man pressure? Tom Brady, for a long, long time, has wanted a deep threat. All right? And that's what Brandon Cook, that's his specialty. Now, you don't want to get in a short dink and dunk with Brandon Cook and Chris Hogan and Amendola against the corners of Jacksonville. If you're going to throw the ball to them, you throw the ball down the field. And I believe it's harder for New England to win if they don't get those big plays. Gronk's going to do what he normally does. But if Brandon Cook is not explosive, I believe it becomes very, very difficult for New England to fend off that great defense.
Isn't there something to be said for using the same game plan that got you here? And if those little dinks and dunks are what got you there, all of a sudden Brandon Cooks is going to turn it up and you're going to be able to go downfield and be successful that way?
Well, this is the thing. Brandon Cook is known for his speed. New England, what they do, they throw the ball short, but they throw it to everyone. I just believe that they're going to throw the ball to the running backs an awful lot. Now, New England, they are game plan specific. That means they are more apt to change what they're doing, but they still do either the same thing. When they throw the ball, you know, they love play action and they love to throw the ball diagonal. All right, they don't have a vertical passing game. They have a horizontal passing game. And that's what Jacksonville's got to deal with. And when you have a horizontal passing game, you have to be able to tackle well and not get yards after the catch.
And I'm going to add something that's really drilled down on the strategy of this game. It's one of the cool things about when there's only 2 games in a weekend. You can really kind of get into the minute details you can't throughout the regular season. Our stats guy, Dusty, did a great job. This is something I never would have known. So the Jags are 80% of the time they rush exactly 4 guys. That's second most in the NFL. Why do they do it so often? The passer rating they allow when they rush just 4 is best in the NFL, a 64 rating. Now let's talk about the Patriots for a moment. Tom Brady, best in the NFL when being rushed by 4 guys. 112 rating. When he's rushed by 3, he's 25th in the league. When he's rushed by 5, he's 26th in the league. So, like, where he is at his best is where the Jags are at their best. A 4-man rush, right? So, in this spot, you're going to have a team that loves to attack the quarterback that way. A quarterback who throughout the season has had tremendous success when he is attacked that way. Now, granted, not against defenses as good as Jacksonville. That's something to watch throughout. If it is just a typical 4-man front, those guys rushing, 7 guys in coverage, that's something the Patriots have eaten up all year, but it's also what's gotten the Jags to this spot in the season. So it's just something to watch for this game.
Oh, also, Tom Brady and this guy up here, Blake Bortles, which I've been staring at all season. Tom Brady played his first postseason game on January 19th, 2002. Blake Bortles was 9 years old.
He's got the experience edge, Jen. I would agree with you there.
Just a slight one. Yeah. It's still an edge.
9
Coming
years
up,
old.
9 years old. Are the Steelers better off without Todd Haley? That's next on First Things First.
January 19, 2002. Tom Brady's first playoff game. CC's still in the league.
Yeah, of course.